Okay. I want us now to have, what have we got? About 20 minutes round the table, and I'm going to ask some of the people up the back to come down and fill here a bit so that we've got equal numbers. A bit of a share about what have you done back in your school since last time we were together. The thing we were talking about then was mainly those, the idea of a whole school planning document and the idea about what does each VELS level look like at your school. So hopefully you went back so excited and enthusiastic to explain to everybody that, oh my God, every single lesson matters, because we've only got, like, when we take out all the concerts and everything, instead of 400 lessons, my God, we've got 122 lessons to teach the entire VELS curriculum. I don't know. Hopefully you've had those conversations, but I'd like to give you some time now to share what's happened in your school with the people around your table. I'll give you some feedback from something that someone's done that they're pretty pleased with, or that went incredibly badly, and so give us a warning. Don't do that with your staff, or tread gently here. You know, make sure you put the stick on the ground so people know exactly what to do. Some feedback. The big group up the back. Somebody up there.
Don't do it in the last week of term.
Okay. What happened? What happened?
It was just flat.
Yeah.
They generally walk out, our staff generally walk out of our PD things with something in their hand to do the next day, and pretty excited about, yep.
Yeah, okay.
They walked out very happy though, and had a few more days to go.
Yeah. And what was the main message you were trying to get across in that session that you had with them?
We probably covered too much, but we went through, we revisited the guiding principles.
Yep.
We went through the graph that you'd done about how much number and how much for the other areas, and that was really good. They were like, oh,
thank God.
You know, that's a highlight. And then we went through the focus statements and got them just to pick out critical things versus incidental things.
Okay.
We played a maths game to start with, and
how long did the session go?
It was probably about an hour. Yeah.
Oh, that's a lot.
Maybe just under an hour.
Yeah, it's a lot. Now tell me, the guiding principles, I have a terrible sinking feeling that everyone's just lifted what I've got as the guiding principles and taken them and dumped them on the table and said, there you are, we're all going to do that. I hope you haven't. When you say the guiding principles, did you have a conversation and maybe add something or take something?
We asked them what was important.
Okay.
The two lots. We asked them what was important to them as far as maths went.
Yeah.
And just looked at that, like, you know, is it the timing that we have for 1 hour, 5 1-hour sessions or whatever. And they wrote down what they thought.
Okay, and so you reached consensus about things. And so they look like those ones, or have you got some other ones that we could have put on there?
No, they were
pretty similar.
much. It wasn't as extensive as the list that we created.
Okay.
But along the same lines. They all agreed that numeracy takes the back burner. That literacy is a big push, and there was a bit of discussion about, well, if they can't read, then they can't do the maths problems anyway, and that sort of stuff. And we talked about like differentiating tasks, and pretty much everything we did, people were like, oh yeah, I do that, but they hadn't sort of given themselves enough credence for doing that, so it wasn't.
The incidental teaching is another thing that came up, that yes, this is actually valuable, and that can be put down that you're covering things incidentally.
Incidentally, yeah, that's good.
That was another issue, and we had a fair bit of discussion on how you'd set up your weekly sessions, what you'd do in each one. We talked about that a fair bit.
Okay.
So there was a lot of discussion about those things and who thought, but it just, the discussion happened, but it just,
you had to push it, like pushing wet rope up a hill, as they say. Okay, and so what will you do then as a result of that, with that feeling that you had that it wasn't as joyous as you would have liked it to have been? Will you?
Our next, we'll run the same structure because we run it like a maths lesson. So we'll start with the game again.
Yeah.
And then we'll we think we'll revisit what we did. So we've collected all their comments and stuff like that, and we'll present that again, just to make sure that everyone was happy with what we'd agreed to form our, you know, what our school believes maths should look like.
That's good.
And what else did we talk about?
We were going to try and get something in that pictorial form like we had for a maths teacher, weren't we?
Yes. So we've done last term, we've done what a good maths teacher would look like, and we've got a graphic of our more creative teachers put together. And so we wanted to do something, well, what would a good maths program at our school look like? And we'll try and get a graphic to go with that. So.
And I'm stumbling along here with the word about what would a good maths lesson look like, because if I'm thinking these are non-negotiables, you might want to change that to what will a maths lesson look like at this school, and that will be a good lesson in any case, because and I think I was driving on about, or banging on about that last time we were together, about that accountability stuff, that this is like where we've drawn a line in the sand, in that the AIZ exists because finally we all have to recognise that we're here not for our good looks, that we're here, you know, that being natural anyway, but we're here because things aren't going as well as we would like them to go, and we want to do something about it. So, and that comment I said to you before about if you're on a dead horse, or you're on a horse and it dies, get off, you know, do something else. So this is about what we are now going to do. We're not going to do that way anymore. This is what we're going to do, and this is why we're going to do it. And we're all going to do it together. We're all going to pull in the same direction, and then we're going to come back and reflect on it. And we're going to, as we're pulling in the same direction, we're all going to be checking with each other that, you know, how are you travelling, and what can I learn from you, and what can you learn from me that will make this work for us all. And then we'll get together and have proper reflection to see, did it work? I read a nice thing the other day, I don't know if I brought it, about reflection isn't just idle navel gazing about what you did. Reflection is about collecting data and looking and talking genuinely about what are the bits that were worth keeping and what are the bits that we need to get rid of and refine and, you know, put something else in its place. So that's what this is all about, the AIZ, isn't it? Helping us all move in a direction that works for our school, that has those positive outcomes for kids. So it's like no more fuffing around about what would a lesson look like. They're the lessons that we want now.
The other thing we did actually address a bit of the data, not in a big way, but just the fact that there had been this thing at our school that, you know, literacy was a problem, but our numeracy was okay. But when you look deeper at the data, we weren't moving at the same rate. And with some more data we've had since, there's more proving that, because our graphs are like this, not like that. We haven't got that stretch at the top that we should have.
Which was the school that I went to, showing me those graphs, and I said there's good news and bad news, and the good news is that there's not a large. No, wait a minute. It was something about the good news is there's no tail. That's what it is. The good news is there's no tail, but the bad news is everybody's like, you know, down the bottom somewhere. There's no tail. That's because everyone's in the tail. It's like a clump down well below the level. Because a lot of, well, not a lot of schools, but some schools, their problem is that the kids are stretched out, like a big sausage up the thing. They've got kids down at level 1 and other kids up at level 5, all in the same grade. Whereas this group, everybody was here, so it was kind of easier to deal with. Okay, some feedback from this table. What's happened at a school since last time?